Among the many feuds Eminem has had throughout his career, his beef with R&B singer Mariah Carey stands out as one of the strangest. What makes it even more unique is how it extended to involve Mariah's ex-husband Nick Cannon and continued to be a running joke on MTV's Wildin' Out, long after the couple divorced. The feud between Eminem and Mariah Carey traces back to the early 2000s, during a period when Eminem was riding a wave of success with albums like the Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, and the Eminem Show. By then, the Eminem Show had shattered records, and Eminem's fame and controversy were at their peak. When the album dropped in May 2002, the track Superman caught the public's attention. In the first verse, Eminem rapped, "If you died, wouldn't buy you a life. What, you trying to be my new wife? What, you Mariah? Fly through twice." This marked the first hint to the public that there may have been a romantic connection between Mariah and Eminem. Mariah Carey and Eminem first met in 2001, shortly after Eminem had achieved worldwide success with the release of the Marshall Mathers LP. At the time, Mariah was working on her 9th studio album, Charm Bracelet, and sought to collaborate with Eminem on songs that would be featured on the project. In July 2002, Eminem's rumored relationship with Mariah Carey came up during an interview with Rolling Stone magazine. When asked about speculation that they were close to becoming a couple, Eminem confirmed, "There's truth to that. I respect her as a singer, but on the whole personal level, I'm not really feeling it. I just don't like her as a person." He officially released Superman as a single in January 2003, and by March, the song gained even more attention when its music video was included on the 8 Mile DVD, boosting its popularity further. According to Dina Ray, who was featured on the song Superman, Mariah Carey originally sang the hook before being replaced by Ray due to a fallout between Mariah and Eminem. In his autobiographical book, The Way I Am, Eminem confirmed that Mariah was the inspiration behind the track. He wrote, "With Superman, all I ever hear people talk about is Mariah Carey. Did she inspire it? Yes, she kind of did. I don't want to get into tabloid gossip, but if you read between the lines and you listen to it, you'll know what I'm talking about." Listening closely, the song feels like a scathing commentary on how Eminem viewed Mariah. Superman wasn't the only song on the Eminem Show to reference her. In the track, when the music stops, Eminem raps, "What the f you take me for? A joke? You smoking crack? Before I do that, I beg Mariah to take me back," implying they had been romantically involved and later split. Mariah didn't remain silent on the matter. In a 2022 interview with USA Today, she clarified that she and Eminem never had an intimate relationship, stating, "I can still count on less than 5 fingers the number of men I've gone there with, and believe me, he isn't one of them." She echoed this sentiment during a 2002 Larry King interview, saying,
"I hung out with him, I spoke to him on the phone. I think I was probably with him total of 4 times, and I don't consider that dating somebody."
Is he a talent?
While Mariah acknowledged Eminem's talent, she suggested that his success was partly due to his race, believing it made him even more relatable to mainstream audiences, particularly white listeners. In December 2002, Mariah Carey released her 9th studio album, Charm Bracelet, which featured her first diss track aimed at Eminem, titled Clown. Although she didn't mention his name directly, the lyrics and context strongly suggested it was a response to him. During a live performance, she was reportedly accompanied by a dancer dressed in a blonde wig and a Detroit Pistons jersey, clearly referencing Eminem in his hometown of Detroit. One of the song's most pointed lines was, "You should have never intimated we were lovers, when you know very well we never even touched each other." In May 2003, reports surfaced that Eminem had saved personal and intimate voicemails Mariah Carey had allegedly sent him during the time he claimed they were together. In response, Mariah addressed the situation in a 2003 interview with the Daily News, saying, "I don't know what the hell he's doing. It's a little excessive. Doesn't it seem a little bit girly, like we're in a cat fight? If somebody has nothing better to do than sit around listening to old phone messages, I'm a little concerned with that. Let him do whatever the hell he wants to do with the recordings. If that makes him happy, yeah, for him. We all have a lot of messages, don't we? And we should all remember that." During his 2005 anger management tour, Eminem reportedly played the alleged voicemails he claimed to have received from Mariah Carey. These voicemails were specifically played before his song Puke, which expressed his revulsion towards his ex-wife Kim Mathers. The following year, Mariah's name resurfaced in another Eminem track called Jimmy Crack Corn, featured on the Shady Records compilation album The Re-Up. In this song, Eminem made explicit claims about his encounter with the R&B star, rapping, "As 50 would say, our clothing line's on fire. Meanwhile, your mind's on us, like mine's on Mariah. And y'all are just like her. Y'all are all fucking liars. But I'll just keep fucking you like I fucked her. right in the ass with KY, yes sir. The back and forth between Eminem and Mariah Carey subsided for a time, although jabs were still exchanged during interviews and public appearances. However, the feud reignited in April 2008 when Mariah married Nick Cannon, prompting Eminem to direct some of his remarks toward Cannon. In May 2009, he released his sixth studio album, Relapse, which featured the song Bagpipes from Baghdad. The song poked fun at Mariah's failed relationships and directly referenced Nick Cannon. Some of the lyrics include, "Mariah, what's ever happened to us? Why did we have to break up?" Eminem also alluded to one of Mariah's past relationships with Mexican musician Luis Miguel, rapping, "I can't imagine what's going through your mind after such a nasty breakup with that Latin hunk. Luis Miguel, Nick Cannon, better back the up. I'm not playing. I want her back, you punk." He further threatened Nick, saying, "Nick, you had your fun. I've come to kick you in your sack of junk," and referred to Mariah as a whore while wishing Nick good luck with her. The song prompted a strong reaction from Mariah, leading her to release a definitive response to Eminem just a month later with her hit single, Obsessed. In the song, Mariah questioned why Eminem was so fixated on her, alleging that he claimed they were having a sexual relationship and continued to mention her in blogs and the media. She suggested that Eminem was obsessed with her and lying about their sexual relationship, singing, "Why you so obsessed with me? Boy, I wanna know. Lying that you're sexing me when everybody knows. It's clear that you're upset with me." The music video featured Mariah dressed as a man who stalks her and creates a shrine in her honor, displaying clear signs of obsession. This imagery was reminiscent of Eminem's song Stand, where a fan becomes dangerously obsessed with him. The comedic video was well received, as Mariah cleverly turned the tables on Eminem by mocking him in the same way he often parodied celebrities in his own videos, such as The Real Slim Shady, Without Me, and Just Lose It. In July 2009, Eminem released The Warning, a direct response to Mariah's Obsessed. At the beginning of the track, he asserted that his initial diss was prompted by Mariah denying that they had been together, which he found offensive. He rapped, "Bitch, shut the f up before I put all them phone calls out you made to my house when you was wildin' out before Nick, when you was on my and give you something to smile about. How many times you fly to my house, still trying to count. Better shut your lying mouth if you don't want Nick finding out." Similar to Bagpipes from Baghdad, Eminem called attention to Mariah's wine cellar, labeling her an alcoholic and suggesting that her supposed alcoholism contributed to her delusion. He also addressed Nick Cannon's assertion that he would ruin Eminem's career, pointing out that Nick's rap career had been unsuccessful. Eminem warned Nick that as long as Mariah continued to respond, the feud would persist. He even included what he claimed were voicemails from Mariah in the song, although their authenticity was disputed. As the years went by, Mariah sometimes expressed regret about her past relationship with Eminem, as the situation continued to linger even after her marriage and for many years afterward. In June 2018, Eminem released his seventh studio album, Recovery, which included the song Cold Wind Blows, where he referenced Mariah again, rapping, "So puff the Buddha, light a bomb, but take a look at Mariah next time I inspire you to write a song, come on." These lines served as a warning to anyone considering writing a diss track against him, suggesting that he would dismantle them just as he had done in The Warning. In August 2010, Eminem told Vibe magazine that he was no longer interested in discussing his history with Mariah, stating, "I really don't want to talk about her anymore, only just because it's kinda like the last thing I said about her was on Cold Wind Blows. I made the comment, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. I'm not even going to comment about it. I'm done with that whole situation. I said what I had to say. I'm done." Mariah chose not to respond to Eminem, but Nick Cannon took it upon himself to do so in his 2010 song, I'm a Slick Rick, which was poorly received. Cannon's first pointed jab came with the line, "I don't know if I should him, cause he's feminine slick. Excuse me, Eminem, why you lying on you?" This implied that Eminem had fabricated his claims of a sexual encounter with Mariah. Nick also mentioned that he had tried to confront Eminem in person at a BET event, but claimed that Eminem avoided him. Additionally, Nick questioned Eminem's street credibility, suggesting that Eminem was fearful of confrontation and thus surrounded himself with a large entourage, while Nick preferred to move around alone. At this point, Nick became deeply involved in the feud, essentially taking it over on behalf of his wife, who appeared uninterested in the back and forth. In September 2010, Nick raised the stakes by proposing a charity boxing match between himself and Eminem, with Eminem being eyed as the potential lead in the upcoming boxing movie Southpaw and set to undergo training. Nick, who claimed to have boxing experience, believed a sanctioned fight would be a fitting way to settle their differences once and for all. However, Eminem brushed off the challenge, opting instead to keep the feud alive through musical references. During the 2010s, the feud significantly quieted down, as Mariah chose not to respond to any provocations. While Eminem and Nick occasionally exchanged jabs, nothing particularly noteworthy emerged. In January 2016, Nick extended an invitation to Eminem to appear on Wildin' Out. That same year, Mariah and Nick finalized their divorce, prompting Nick to reflect on the reasons behind his feud with Eminem. He acknowledged that he had engaged in the conflict largely due to Eminem's repeated disrespect towards Mariah. In early 2019, Nick Cannon appeared in an interview with Vlad TV, where he revealed that during the height of the feud between himself, Eminem, and Mariah a decade earlier, Gucci Mane had reached out to offer assistance in handling the situation. Nick noted that Mariah's remix of Obsessed featured Gucci, lending credibility to the idea that he might have genuinely offered help.
When me and Eminem so-called had the beef or whatever, and the whole thing with Mariah, he was one of the first people like, hey, bruh, we can go handle it. Gucci said we can go handle it. But all the way to the fact, who was on the Obsessed record with Mariah? Gucci Mane. Obsessed was the diss record to Eminem. Listen to his verse. If you listen to that verse, he talking that shit like, yo, it can happen.
Later that year, Nick guest starred on T.I.'s podcast Expeditiously with Tip T.I. Harris. During the interview, he recounted on an incident when he was newly married and returning from a trip to Africa, Eminem dropped the diss track, Bagpipes from Baghdad, which targeted Mariah. This prompted Nick to write a lengthy letter to Eminem, expressing his admiration for Eminem's music while voicing his displeasure over the song and requesting a face-to-face meeting. The letter read, "Look, I respect you as an artist. I'm actually a fan, and I think you're one of the best to ever do it. But from man to man, you're talking out of pocket to my wife. You gotta be held accountable for that, so I need to see you face to face." Nick mentioned that cooler heads eventually prevailed, claiming that Eminem apologized for his role in the feud, which was what Nick had wanted all along.
I feel like anytime somebody says something, you a man of strong character and morals.
Absolutely.
Like you just got to be held accountable.
Got to see you. I got to see you.
If you say something,
absolutely got to see you.
We gonna have to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Like men. That's all I wanted. And he was talking and running and ducking. He apologized. He did apologize.
Things appeared to be calm until December 2019, when Fat Joe released a collaborative album with producer Dre from Cool and Dre. Eminem was featured on the track titled Lord Above, alongside Mary J. Blige. In his verse, Eminem rapped, "I know me and Mariah didn't end on a high note, but that other dude's whipped. That pussy got him neutered. Tried to tell him this chick's a nut job before he got his jewels clipped. Almost got my caboose kicked. Fool, quit. You not gonna do shit. I let her chop my balls off too before I lost to you, Nick." These lines effectively ended any semblance of a truce and reignited a feud that many thought had been laid to rest. Nick, who had been divorced from Mariah for a few years by that point, did not take this lying down and decided to respond to Eminem. Nick responded with 3 diss tracks in quick succession, starting with The Invitation, which featured Suge Knight, Hitman Holla, Charlie Clips, and Prince Easy. This track was Nick's most cutting response, as he brought Eminem's Trojan into the mix with lines like, "Call Kim, somebody get Haley, and that other kid you raising, that ain't even your baby. Took a page out of Drake book, this might get a Grammy. We going back to back till you respond on the family. My baby mama killed you off a decade ago." Nick continued with, "I called Joe to set you up, and you fell for the job. Slim won't show for the videos cause he's terrified of my squad. I heard your chauffeur got a video of you sucking a. You paid him off, then laid him off. Now who's really the eye?" His second diss track, Pray For Him, featured the Black Squad and included an interpolation of Jay-Z and Eminem's song Renegade, particularly in Nick's verse. Shortly after, he released the third diss track titled The Invitation, Cancelled, which accused Eminem of being a racist, a culture vulture, and an unwelcome presence in hip-hop. "Lord Jamar told your ass you was a guest in our house. I'm trying to find out who the let this pest in our house." However, none of the 3 tracks were well received, with many mocking Nick for attempting to go toe-to-toe with one of the most respected rappers of his time, known for his technical skill and commercial success. Eminem opted to respond to the diss tracks via Twitter, posting, "You mad, bro? Stop lying on my. I never even had a chauffeur, you bougie." Followed by another tweet, "I demand an apology, Nicholas. You've made my gardener so jealous." In a later interview with Hip Hop DX, Nick expressed regret for going too far in The Invitation by mentioning Eminem's Trojan. He admitted to being a fan of Eminem's music, revealing that his original intent with the diss tracks was to get him to appear on his hit TV show, Wildin' Out. "I was a little overzealous. I was a little heavy-handed. First of all, I love Eminem as an artist. Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, Those are some of my favorite albums, but I think there was a lot that went on there. One, the whole goal was to get him to come on Wildin' Out and acknowledge it. So there was a mission to it because I was like, yo, that'd be the most amazing show ever. It was an invitation to come on the show. While he acknowledged that he was genuinely upset at the start of the feud in 2008, Nick indicated that a decade later, he was more focused on playing along and leveraging the attention from the feud as a promotional tool, recognizing it was beneficial for business and kept audiences engaged. In a 2020 Vlad TV interview, Nick revealed that during the peak of their feud in 2009 to 2010, he traveled to Detroit with the intention of confronting Eminem physically to defend Mariah's honor. He explained to Vlad,
I was there to defend my wife. I ain't give a fuck about no lyrics. I ain't give a fuck about, like, you said some disrespectful shit about my wife, and I'm going to beat your ass.
A few months later, in an interview with Billboard, Nick acknowledged Eminem's talent while also issuing a warning. I always give that dude his props as an icon in hip-hop. I think he knows better now. If he keeps talking about me, I'm gonna keep talking back. Then, in October 2020, King Crooked, a former Shady Records artist and friend of Eminem, posted a picture with Nick Cannon. A fan commented on the photo on X, prompting Crook to tweet, "They're not enemies, it's over." In September 2020, Mariah Carey released her memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, which explored various facets of her life and career in the entertainment industry. According to US Weekly, an unnamed source revealed that Eminem was concerned the book would disclose intimate details about their past that he wanted to keep private. The source stated, Eminem's Achilles heel has always been Mariah Carey. They had a very toxic relationship. He knows that Mariah is going to say very negative things about him. He is expecting the onslaught and almost welcomes it. However, contrary to expectations, the book did not include any references to her encounters with Eminem. When asked about this omission, Mariah explained, "There's some songs that I can sing in response to that, but I will not do it. If somebody or something didn't pertain to the actual meaning of Mariah Carey, as is the title, then they aren't in the book," implying that Eminem was not significant enough in her life to warrant a mention in her memoir. Despite the feud seemingly being resolved, Eminem's name continued to surface on Nick Cannon's Wildin' Out, often at Nick's own prompting. In one episode, Nick referred to Eminem as a bitch. "I'm kinda like an undertaker, you know I get it in. All I need is a shovel and a bitch named Eminem." The outcome of their conflict remained a topic of debate amongst fans. Some believed Eminem emerged victorious after releasing the warning, while others felt Mariah delivered a decisive blow with Obsessed. Over the years, it became clear that Eminem was comfortable using controversy to his advantage and maintaining long-standing rivalries with other artists, such as Benzino, Ja Rule, and MGK. In contrast, Mariah, who did not come from a hip-hop background, was less skilled at navigating such controversy. Although Eminem had threatened to release compromising images and voicemails, they never saw the light of day. Nevertheless, the feud persisted into the 2020s, solidifying its status as one of Eminem's long-running conflicts with fellow musicians. In July 2024, Eminem released his 12th studio album, The Death of Slim Shady. In the track, Guilty Conscience 2, he declared an end to all his long-standing and high-profile feuds, naming artists such as MGK, Benzino, Cannabis, Ja Rule, Lord Jamar, Will Smith, and Nick Cannon. Christopher, MGK, Nick, and for Limp Bizkit and them, Midgets and Ben, Zeno, in addition to him, Will Smith, and to Cannabis, if you're listening, this is the end. So to Jamar and Ja Rule, and to all my feuds, including mine, notably absent from this list was Mariah Carey, likely because she had not engaged with Eminem's antics for some time. Only time would reveal whether Eminem would uphold his promise to refrain from reigniting past conflicts that had long been a hallmark of his music.